Hi guys, James at Goddard Radio Moscow Beer and Meta Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one I'm reporting to you from Auckland in New Zealand. I'm over here visiting my friend Adam, who I met in Heidelberg in Germany, and I've actually been up to one of the local shops, Glengarry Wines and Spirits, and I've bought myself 12 different New Zealand craft beers to review over the next few videos for you. So Adam and I are going to be enjoying these over the next few nights. I've actually had a frustrating night with the camera, which is why the beer is already poured rather, and I hate Windows 8 now, I can tell you that for nothing. But anyway, for this first beer review, we're actually going to go to one of the famous brew pubs of Auckland, and that is Galbraiths Ale House, but they're also known as Galbraiths Brewing Company, and we're going to have a taste tonight of their special edition Pilsner Czech style beer. So this is a really nice one actually, I can tell you that having already tasted it. And Galbraiths, as I mentioned to you, is one of the more well-known beer locations within the city of Auckland. So as is usual with my beer reviews then, I will take you through a very kind of brief history of the brewery. It is very short, but if you want to go straight to the tasting, just fast forward a few minutes into the video. The brewery website's in the video description for you below, along with a link to my other reviews that I'll hopefully do from these guys in the very near future. So anyway, as I mentioned to you, the Ale House is located in Eden Terrace in Auckland, and it was opened by Keith Galbraith back in 1995. And like many brewers, Keith's goal was to introduce ales as an alternative to the mass-produced beers that gripped the world and New Zealand at that particular point in time. Now, Keith had previously worked in the wine industry, and he believed that Kiwi beer could actually undergo a similar renaissance to wine and a growth in popularity if it was given the right guidance. Now, the Ale House is actually a traditional English-style pub, and it's located on Mount Eden Road, and it was built in 1912 originally as a library, but today the building has protected status through Historic Places Trust, and it's well known by both New Zealanders and international travellers who are looking for a kind of good beer experience when they come to Auckland in New Zealand. And it's a really nice old building actually, you can't miss it. It's this really big old kind of dark green British style building, really nice looking place, and it's very nice inside as well. Very good food and good beer. But Keith actually selects all the malts and hops that go into the beers, all of which come from England or the Czech Republic, and they also have the only government approved whole hop import licence in New Zealand. And as you know, New Zealand are very picky on what they actually allow into their country, and they source all their hops from Europe and the USA through their London based dealer. And they also have many different yeast strains for their beers and a water mineralisation system where they can use this to actually mimic the different minerals in the water from around the world. And it mentions on their website, if you go and have a look, that they've mimicked London, Prague, Munich, and I think it was Dublin as well, so a whole host of places that they can mimic with this system. And Auckland water, if I remember rightly, is actually quite soft, so it's actually already very good for beer brewing. So I'm not sure why they don't really kind of stick to the Auckland water and make that a little bit of a unique point, but their beers are very good, so who am I to complain about that? But anyway, that's the kind of brief history of the brewery. To tell you a little bit about their other beers, they've got various tap beers that you'll find only in the brew house, so go and visit the place, like I say, if you do find yourself in Auckland. And they have a pale ale, they've got a New Zealand pale ale, the Czech Pilsner here, and there's a couple of there's a bitter beer, I believe, that they also do in the bottled range too. How far away you can get these guys from New Zealand, I'm not sure, but as I say, check out the brewery website and you will get some info there. So anyway, to move on to my third tasting now of this beer. This guy is a 5.3% Pilsner beer. As you can guess, it contains Czech malts and hops. I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little quick look at the artwork on this beer. It is very simply done. Very nice. It says on the bottom of it here on the purple label, this special edition Pilsner is the big brother of our most popular beer served our ale house. Bigger and bolder, it's a classic European lager made here in New Zealand from original Czech ingredients and for you to enjoy fresh. It's 5.3% alcohol by volume, it's a half-litre bottle, and it also says on the side, our ale house is at the heart of our beers. This is where we practice what we preach, creating beers not with tricks and gimmicks but with good quality ingredients using authentic methods, just good honest beer. And it's signed by Keith Galbraith on the side there. You can't really see on the bottle just from the light. I apologise for the level of light at the moment when I'm filming this, but this is the Galbraith symbol. You can see it there. It's just a beer, a muzzled bear rolling a bow. And if I remember rightly, because Galbraith is a Scottish name, I'm sure that the bear is actually on the family crests, and because I see these things all the time when you go into the kilt shops and stuff at home, and I'm sure I would have a very strong inkling that the bear is a reference to the Galbraith family crest. So anyway, to move on to the sort of tasting and stuff of this beer, just to let you see the colour of it, it is a pale golden straw, completely transparent as you can see through the camera. When I poured it, it had a nice big 3-finger white frothy head, but it's obviously settled quite a bit now because Windows 8 was being horrible to me. But there was a lot of nice kind of big bubbles. There was a lot of carbonation going up towards the bottom of the head as well, and it's a nice carbonated beer, this one. So, to tell you a bit about the aroma, it has all the elements that you would kind of expect from the typical Czech Pilsner beer. When you pour it, you will get a nice kind of corny sweetness coming out of this one. But when you actually get into the glass, you'll start to pick up more of the kind of big bready malt base that this guy has, and that's the typical element that you want from a Czech Pilsner beer. It has a nice kind of pale malt underlying with a nice underlying, of biscuit malt, sweet kind of biscuity, slightly caramel malts, but a big pale malt base, and you're getting a lot of kind of grassy and citrusy and aromatic-y hops when you sort of breathe it in a bit more deeply. So that's your kind of aroma. We'll move on to my third tasting of this beer now. So when you first take this guy in, you'll get a nice kind of big hoppy bite as you take it in. It smooths out, and then you get the sort of dryness of the hops kind of building up again. I felt that this beer had a nice kind of a slightly earthy character to it, but it grows into more of a kind of florally, aromatic-y and citrus mouthfeel, and that kind of just builds its way around the edge of the tongue there. But in the middle of the tongue, you're getting a little bit, I thought there was a little bit of an earthy character, and you get that pale malt base just with a really kind of slight underlying, just that big white bready malt base with just a little bit of biscuit and caramel just underlying there. I think there was a little bit of earthy character in the hops. I noticed that particularly when you get the first little bite off the hops. There's definitely a little bit of earthy character in there, in my opinion. But yeah, you definitely get a little bit of a really nice earthy character from this one, which is, I think that it adds just a little bit to it, and it's quite interesting the fact it's compared to some of the Czech Pilsner beers you will get over in Prague and in the sort of southern area of Germany, the Bohemian style beers. I think this guy is a bit more hoppy. It reminds me a bit more of the Dortmunder style Helles, where you have that big grassy and aromatic feel to it. But it's a very, very nicely done beer actually. And I will need to go and try the Bohemian beer. As it was saying, it's the big brother rather of one of the beers they do in the tap house, which is the Bohemian beer. And I need to go and try that one now that I've done this. But this is a very nice example of the style, and it's as I say, it's a little bit different because of that floral and aromatic-y hop. In terms of the mouthfeel, it's very, very light-bodied. It's an easily sessionable beer, and it does have a nice clean feel to it. It's nice and clean and fresh. The carbonation's very light, and it's very easy drinking. Easily sessionable beer, this one. So I'd be interested to see what the other variant of this on the tap tastes like. So overall, I would say it's a really nice bottled Czech Pilsner beer. What I would say though is that the Kiwis have told me that the other beers, I only tried one myself, but the Kiwis say that the other beers that you will get on tap in this brewery are quite superior, if you like, to the bottle version. So I would bear that in mind when you try their beers. And as I said at the start of the video, if you do get the chance to go and visit Auckland, it's definitely a place you want to check out. Some really nice food, really nice beers on tap, and they don't just have their own stuff. They have 8 Wired and Epic and a few other things there. So definitely worth checking out if you're wanting a good beer location in Auckland. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my first New Zealand craft beer review in quite a wee while. Hopefully the next one I do, I won't have all the camera troubles that I've had this time. It's been very, very frustrating. But hopefully you've enjoyed it nonetheless. Please let me know in the comments section your own thoughts on this beer, and indeed the other Galbraith beers, because I'm not sure if I'll get to review another one of these for a wee while. But I thank you for watching, and please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff, and I will catch you soon with my next Kiwi beer review. Cheers.